Can a plumber make $105,000 in a year with a wrench alone? Probably. But don't you think he'd do better with other tools in his bag? My name is Kevin Fox. This is Ready for Work, and we're talking about soft skills. Welcome to the program. This is Ready for Work. My name is Kevin Fox. Ready for Work is the podcast for CTE professionals, students, and parents as well. It's all part of a 5-county collaborative that we put together on the back of a CTE conference, Career and Technical Education Conference, that involved all 5 of these counties. I want to remind you to subscribe to this podcast. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Alexa. It's also video, as you can tell, so you will be able to consume this podcast wherever you get that type of content, Facebook, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. So today I want to talk to you about soft skills. I started with the story of a plumber. I'm going to tell you this story is from CNBC. I want to credit the writer. Her name is Abigail Johnson Hess. You can find her on Twitter at Abigail J. Hess, if you want to look this up. And I'll put the link to this story so you can follow along. I'll put the link to this story in the description of this podcast. Starts out like this. What does it take to make $105,000 a year as a plumber in San Antonio, Texas? Gentleman's name is Richard Armendariz. He's 30 years old. He grew up in a suburb of San Antonio. Grew up with his mom and his brother and his sister. And I want to make note here, there's no father in the picture here. That'll be important later. He attended high school for only 2 years, apparently dropped out, went on to earn his GED, and then he wanted to get his associate's degree at the local San Antonio Community College. After 2 years, he was forced to drop out of community college because of the cost of textbooks. Matter of fact, he says right here, it was the psychology textbook. They wanted me to have the 10th edition. He bought the 9th edition, and it was about $500. He says he was 19 years old, just couldn't afford it anymore, couldn't muster up the money. He was very disappointed. He really wanted to get his associate's degree. And then, you know how that happens. Life happened. His girlfriend at the time, who ends up being his wife later, she ended up pregnant. And he was forced to drop out of college. Matter of fact, one of Armendariz's classmates, high school classmates, was teasing him, told him he wouldn't amount to anything. He picked up work in swimming pool construction, probably spraying gunite or setting forms or things like that. He was earning $8.50 an hour. And after a year, his pay increased to $17.50. Sounds pretty good. Probably a little bit different than our wage system here in California. In Texas, probably $8.50 goes a longer way. But he ended up at $17.50 per hour, but the company was having some financial difficulty and his pay ended up going down to $12 per hour. Richard's mom recommended that he reconnect with his father, and this is where the father comes into the picture. And he said he was pretty nervous, but he had the opportunity to introduce his son to his grandfather, and that started, it kind of broke the ice for that meeting. Well, during that meeting, his father suggested that he look into a plumbing apprenticeship. So we began that process. He was earning $12 per hour and the same work he was doing in construction, and quickly began to earn more. And if you're not familiar with how apprenticeship works, you begin at a bottom wage and it is OJT. So they're paying you to learn your trade formally. So you go to work during the day and you're earning a wage, and you're part of a union. And then usually a couple of nights a week, you're going to a school. In this case, it'd be plumbing school. And they are teaching him to do a whole bunch of things like to solder, to make glue joints, cut cast iron. And he had to learn all of the construction codes as well. So Armendariz moves on towards his master plumber's license. And kind of in the story, I'm going to lay out, at least in Texas, how this process works. So he went on working on his plumber's license, and he earns the same. Now he earns $68 per hour, and he works for a company that's plumbing and drain in San Antonio. So he's like, one of those vans that drives around the street, probably does small jobs, remodel jobs, mostly dealing with clogged drains and things like that. He wanted to go on to earn his tradesman license. That allows him to work in residential buildings as a journeyman plumber. And then if he's a journeyman, he can do both residential and commercial. So you can see where he's moving up. He's working on his master's license, and in Texas, is more if you're going to own your own company. So his concentration is to move up the chain. And remember, this guy dropped out of high school and did not get his AA degree in college. So I want to talk about what his typical day is. Before I move on to the rest of this story. Armendariz works Monday through Friday. He says no 2 days are exactly the same. Typical day is going to be like, he gets up in the morning, he reports to work, they dispatch the jobs that he's supposed to do that day, and then he's sent out to the house. And here's where I found this story to get kind of interesting. He says here, while technically plumbing skills are a key part of his job, Armendariz says the rest of his time is spent comforting customers. He projects that 60 or 70% of the work, he says, is very important, that they have some kind of empathy for their customers because, they're plumbers, right? And if your house is flooded, you got to have some kind of customer service skills. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I'll finish up this story here. He says the worst part of Armendariz's worst job that Armendariz has ever been involved in is when they had 6 inches of sewage in an apartment complex. But the most memorable job started with a service request from one of his high school classmates. Maybe you remember that guy at the beginning of the story. The young man had told me that I wasn't going to amount to anything because he was going to college and he had a big vision for what he was going to do with all of his degrees and so on and so forth. And several years later, he called Armendariz out for a service call. Armendariz showed up to a massive property with multiple cars filling a wraparound driveway. And he says, and I quote, "I was looking around and I saw a man. You've done really well," says Armendariz. And I was asking him, "What do you do?" And he said, "Well, I'm the groundskeeper here." So today we're going to talk about soft skills, and I think an important part of this conversation is about customer service. But just who is your customer? My guest today introduced me to the concept of a different concept of customer service, and we're going to talk about that right after this.
Ready for Work is made possible with help from our premier podcast sponsor, Bay Valley Tech Code Academy. Bay Valley Tech offers free and low-cost coding programs for students seeking life-changing careers in software development. Bay Valley Tech focuses on teaching in-demand web development skills. Unlike other coding and technical schools, Bay Valley Tech leverages a unique community-based training strategy. Professional instructors help students in the Central Valley learn how to use online programming languages to accelerate their careers. Locations in Modesto and Stockton, and a free code academy as an online program, Bay Valley Tech is a great place to learn how to code, but it is an even more amazing place to build connections necessary to land a paid software internship or web development job. Learn more about this fast-growing code academy at bayvalleytech.com.
Bay Valley Tech is a sponsor of this program, Ready for Work, and we'll be talking to Phil Land here in the next couple of weeks. They are expanding into the East Bay as well, so check them out at bayvalleytech.com. So joining me right now, good friend of mine actually, Gary Beaudette. Gary, I never really know you've got you sent me a list, right? I've got your bio in front of me, and there's a lot of lean trainer director at Parker Hannifin. You're a Six Sigma black belt in lean lean.
Yeah.
You're certified agile project manager. People ask me, what is it that Gary does? And I tell people all the time, Gary is a curriculum content creator. Is that pretty accurate?
That's part of it. Yeah. I'm a problem solver, I say. So I do business consulting. So I'm out in industry helping them solve problems in real time. And then after I help solve those problems, I learn from them. And then I use that to help make curriculum.
So this is part of your curriculum. That's the continuous improvement process, correct?
Yes.
Cool. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is, I got this story, CNBC. The guy's name is Richard Armendariz.
Yes.
He's a plumber. And the crazy thing about that story, and you know me, I'm in the world of CTE, so I know about apprenticeships, and I came out of the trade, so I know about what plumbers do and all this stuff. And the one thing that didn't occur to me in the story is how much time Mr. Armendariz spends consoling customers, the customer service part, right? So this is a major, what people refer to as soft skills. Some people get offended by that now in the CTE world. So some people call them, whatever you want to call them, professional skills, essential skills, people skills, right? So, that was a combination of a little bit sort of a retail background, right? Because the guy's driving his, whatever, Roto-Rooter type van around, and he's clogging drains. So there's a little bit of retail there, but he went through all the trades, and he comes with all these hard skills. So he knows how to do these things, but these soft skills or professional skills or people skills are really important kind of across industry, aren't they?
Yeah, big time. I thought it was interesting too. He said 60 to 70%. And to me, that's business acumen. That's realizing who's paying the bills, right? The customer first. And it goes for external customers or also within a organization. That's what I work with a lot of companies where it's one department, say it's the maintenance department, right? Anyone who submits a maintenance work order, that's your customer, right? So what is that mindset? How do you approach? What's good customer service look like? Right? All those things.
So now that right there is a concept. Because I've got a retail background, right? I spent my time hopping around different places. I worked in a camera store out in Tracy for like a lot of years, right? And so I learned to sell cameras to people, but the way that I did that was listening to the customer. You introduced me to this concept you just spoke of, like an interorganizational customer service, because I had never, ever considered my boss as my customer. That had never occurred to me. But really, it's nearly the same as a retail relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I kind of really zoned in on it when about 4 or 5 years ago, I was working with makerspaces in Inland Empire. And I was looking at entrepreneurship curriculum and comparing that to the type of business curriculum that I train leadership in large organizations. Like it's the same thing. Whether you're starting your own business or you're the department lead within an organization, all the concepts from being an entrepreneur to being a department lead, they're the same thing, right? You should treat anyone who needs a process from you completed or a product from you, right? Whether I'm making a widget and then I'm sending it over to the shipping department, well, that's my customer. And just to be on time, it's the same things just in retail. Right. You have to have good communication skills as a part of it, listening skills so you could empathize and you could listen to see what your customer wants, needs, and expects, but also being on time and then delivering a good quality product.
Well, let's unpack that for a minute. So listening skills, communication skills, those sorts of things in an organizational kind of realm, right? I think you've told me before that's like one of the biggest challenges that most companies endure, right?
Right. And those are symptoms. So communication skills, because really, if we break down communication, what is that? About teaching people how to talk. Like we know how to talk. People know how to listen. It's just, do they do it? Are they choosing to do it? Or maybe is the person who's giving them information, is that the wrong approach to speak directions to someone all the time, knowing that we can only remember, if we're interested, maybe 20% of what they're saying? So a lot of it, when I go into organizations, it's a lot of, I'm working with leadership. Like, why are you using that method? If you need to get something done, why don't you take a picture of what good looks like and have them, instead of Well, instead of blaming them that they're not good at listening to you, I'm like, well, that's a horrible method of trying to get them to do something, is to expect them to memorize everything.
So we're kind of opening a can of worms here, but we're in the world of CTE, right? Most of the students that we deal with have a tendency to be demonstration learners. But the concept of showing somebody a picture of another thing that I learned from you in your Use Soils program, showing somebody a picture of what is good versus, well, you don't really want to show them what is bad, right? Because
sometimes it helps,
but you show them a picture as opposed to a written document,
right?
Which we know in the world that we live in now, I mean, with texting skills and everything's abbreviated and things like that, people don't really read it thoroughly, right? So there's kind of a lost part of the communication portion. But if you show them a picture and you say, this is what I want you to accomplish, then it's fairly straightforward for a demonstration learner or somebody who's a visual learner, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And CTE, instead of lecturing like traditional teaching, I'd say I don't think you should lecture anything at all. I'm more about giving them the information and then coaching them along the way, helping them be successful. So you should be an expert usually in whatever you're teaching them, and then putting them in that environment. So with communication, so it's cool when you came into Volt. I know that I don't like the picture on the website where I'm sitting there, but it actually brings up a good point. So if I'm to teach someone about speaking skills, I'm like, I do that in two bullet points, right? One is that you prepare. So when you talk about communication, it's about being prepared before you talk. Then you won't be as nervous. The second one is whenever you have negative thoughts, change the channel. Like, think of something else. So if you start saying in your head, well, what if I make a mistake? What if I stop it right there and just think of something else? So
because I do that all the time.
Right when you say what if, just stop it. Think of something. Do something else. Think about anything. If you prepared, you're good. So when you took that picture, I was talking to one of the students. He's like, I'm horrible. He's like, I don't get jobs because I'm so afraid of public speaking. I do bad in interviews. So I sit like that I sit down and I talk to the class like that. And he's like, yeah, I just don't like public speaking. I'm like, you realize there's 10 people here and I'm here now and you're public speaking right now. He's like, oh my gosh, I am. I'm like, yeah, we're just having a conversation, right? If I'm standing above people the whole time and like talking down to them, that's not good phase one to get someone comfortable to speak in a group. So I'm doing hands-on with communication instead of telling them all the concepts of it. And yeah, that's good for a little bit, but get them relaxed and talking in an environment, something that they're comfortable with. That's the way to go.
I don't want to run folks off, but folks, I was going to say you could go to the website and see the picture, but I took it down. So So we changed.
We'll do a better one. Thank you for taking it down.
But the reality is, you brought your communication down physically down to their level and sat down where all the other students, and that's less intimidating, right? So that's body posture, which is another portion of communication, right? So, and I don't want to steer too far off track here. But all of those things that we just talked about, those are all part of the customer service sort of package, those skills that go along with customer service. We got listening, right? We got watching for body language, because if he's a plumber, he's gotta drop the bad news on him, right? Hey, your house is flooded, and guess what? It's going to cost you $1,000, and I won't be able to deal with it for 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you have to listen to the customer, listen to the needs of the customer, and then be prepared to address what the customer request is, and then give them a reasonable and realistic expectation of how that's going to be accomplished. I'm not incorrect.
Right. Conflict resolution, things like that help. And again, the number one thing about communication is communication flow. I'll give you examples of retail. Say you go up to Starbucks or wherever, a fast food line. And if someone tells you while you're in line, someone comes out like, it's going to be about 5 minutes. Like, okay. But if no one came out and told you it's going to be about 5 minutes and you're just waiting there, after 1 minute goes by, no communication, after 2 minutes, after 3 minutes, your car's you're like, what the heck is going on? You'll get angry and mad in like 4 minutes. Like, I'm out here. This is the worst thing ever. Right. Imagine the difference. So if someone came up and just gave you, right. So that's communication flow. Like, keep communication flowing between you and your client, you and your customer, you and other departments. Don't keep things up here. So
in the case of, and just to paint sort of a picture here, in the case of Mr. Armendariz, if house is flooded, he goes to address that job, and he tells the customer, hey, this is no problem. I'll have it fixed in a couple hours, that kind of thing. And that doesn't work out. His expectation doesn't work out. Or he says nothing at all, which is the example you said. Then the customer begins to become impatient, right? Then you start to lose confidence in that. In an interorganizational, it's an employee, right? And then, interorganizational, that could turn into micromanaging, which makes your job really tough. But in a plumbing situation, he's on the job. If he doesn't lay out clearly realistic expectations, the whole thing could fall apart. And then the customer, when they're confronted with the bill, can feel like, I didn't get the service that I need, and I feel like the bill is too high. So that's the communication flow.
Yeah, big time. It's all about communication flow.
So Gary, let me ask you then, what is, let's try to break it down into age groups here. So what are some ways that instructors, teachers, high school, middle school, high school, will go on to college, right? Or higher education, I should say. What are some ways that instructors can introduce students to a solid foundation in communication skills, customer service?
So I think probably the most beneficial class that I take, so things in debate, right? So thinking skills first, but just logic, problem solving. I know I'll get to it. It seems like I'm in a roundabout way, but once you're able to analyze and critically think about things and get the skills of seeing where flow breaks down, whether it's process flow, communication flow, I think those are very important to start with. But I think certain skills are definitely how to articulate and be concise. So from writing a good paper, that way you could really communicate what you're thinking. Because I see it a lot in industry, like, oh, my boss never listens to me. I told him about a problem. I'm like, no, that was a complaint. I'll teach you how to go from a complaint to a problem. You need to articulate in a way. And if you want, the higher up you go in a company, if you want to get their attention, you need to talk about dollars. Like, oh, I have a $10,000 problem that I want to talk to you about versus, oh, that thing's always in my way. It's annoying. Like, now you're just complaining. So
$10,000 problem is likely to get their attention.
Right. Yeah. So it's about knowing your audience, right? So things like that, whether it's knowing your customer, but thinking externally, who is the audience? Who am I going to be talking to? Because it helps. Right. I don't wear a tuxedo when I'm training maintenance mechanics. I dress as much like them as I can so they could relate to me. Right. In different settings, I dress different ways. So that way I seem more approachable and relatable. So I think really understanding your audience is great. And then how to articulate what you're thinking, just working on those skills. And then the public speaking, those things will come, but teaching preparation, how to practice continuous improvement, right? When you fail with something, how to keep going and keep trying and being open to feedback. So I think you could start that as young as possible. So
I heard you say practice, and really for any skill, whether it's a soft skill or a hard skill, whatever, that's really the key to all of that. These things have to be practiced. It's very rare for these things to come naturally to folks, right?
Right. Yeah. So even I know with COVID and the e-learning modules and things like that. So everyone has to be creative, right? I teach now it's UMass, so it's Brandman University. Yeah. I'll teach classes there where we did like the hybrid learning. But it's just trying to find the best way you could still get people to work on projects together and practice communication flow, where put them right. And I know a lot of educational institutes do this now, and it's great because I see it in the real world, and the industry is putting them in small groups and have them figure out how to get projects done together. So that's kind of the practice of communication. Put them in, have them get small groups and give them a problem to solve together.
That's a good way to do it. All right. Well, we need to take a quick break. Also, at the bottom of your bio that you gave here, you have a new asterisk here, a new bullet point, and it says author. And I'm excited about that because you have a new book, and I want to talk about that in the next break. So, so stick around for me. You guys stick around. We'll be right back.
StanCareerPath.com is a new website from the Stanislaus County Office of Education designed to help students and parents, adult learners, and local businesses connect with career and technical education programs throughout the county. High school students and parents can use StanCareerPath.com to help with career pathway decisions in scheduling high school classes. Adult learners can use StanCareerPath.com to discover training programs available in Stanislaus County. Businesses can use StanCareerPath.com to connect with local high school programs and build partnerships in a variety of ways with educational agencies. StanCareerPath.com also allows for collaboration between educators in the same career fields. With resources like Join the Workforce, you can discover businesses in Stanislaus County that offer career opportunities for students and adults in 15 specific industry sectors. StanCareerPath.com is an excellent tool to collaborate as a county and work towards preparing our students for their careers. Check it out at StanCareerPath.com.
I'm having the worst day ever. Everything is getting on my nerves. My teacher asked students to rhyme, and I can't think of any words. It's absurd. I can't rhyme nouns or verbs or compound words. It's like my mind is blurred. I hope she will skip my turn. The other kids rhyme bat with cat, pug with hug, and nerds with birds. And, okay, Hank, it's your turn to think of a rhyme and show us what you've learned. Gee, I don't know, Mrs. DeFlame. There might be something wrong with my brain. I can't think of any two words that sound the same. The other kids laugh, and one even starts to dance. They think I am lame. Mrs. Duflame, may I please have a second chance? This is even more embarrassing than the time I peed my, yes, Hank, that's fine. Tomorrow you could try to rhyme at the exact time of 9:59.
That was a clip from Gary Beaudette's, my guest today, Gary Beaudette, his new book, Hank Grime, The Kid Who Couldn't Rhyme. What's the deal with the book, Gary? You're a trainer, a Six Sigma lean process trainer for the manufacturing industry, but you wrote a book about a kid that can't rhyme. This is a book about self-confidence, isn't it?
It has definitely about self-confidence. And I think really I looked at kind of going back to the customer first and knowing what people like. Just for me, I don't know if I've told you this or really told anyone this, that I probably didn't read a full book until, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. I jump around so much. I find the spots that I need, but even I think Hunger Games, like 5 years ago, I know it's out of all the books, but I read most of it, but I always have to like hop around or do different things. So I read a lot, but I can't sit front to back, cover to cover. So just with spending time with my daughter, she's 8 years old. Now she's 9. But during the time I wrote this, I'm like, man, I just didn't have the attention span to sit through certain books or to even read books. So this book is a lot of fill in the blanks. It's interactive. It's fun. They get to compete with the kid as he's rhyming. So it's just a fun experience. So I wanted to create an experience because I'm tired after working and I'm just like, I have to get all this energy to get my daughter excited about reading. So I have to be creative and on the spot because the books just don't do it. They're very bland. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to make my own. That way I'm going to spend a lot of time now to do it. That when I get home, I have something interactive. So it does the thinking for me. I just have them fill in the blanks. They'll get some laughs out of it. But yeah, definitely the problem that I'm trying to solve is, or the story is about him really having to stand up in front of the class and rhyme when it shows that he's capable of doing it, but he kind of just made a mistake. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, he has people along the way that encourage him and try to give him tips and tricks on how to do that. And I don't want to spoil it for the kids, but in the end, he realizes it's all kind of internal, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just sometimes it takes someone else to show, like, you are good. You do have talent. Like, just give it a try. And he was just coached by people, and he found a real friend who believed in him, and then he tried it, and he had a great teacher. The teacher's part of the success story too, and saw something in him. And it's a cool story. I really like it.
Hank Grime, The Kid Who Couldn't Rhyme. It's by Gary Beaudette, my guest, and it's on Amazon and
Barnes and Noble's online and Amazon.
Nice, fantastic. This would be a great classroom book. This would be a great for the proper age group, right? You don't want to read this to high school kids, or maybe you do, because this is that foundation for public speaking, right?
So one of my good friends, Ronaldo Rucker, I gave him a book, and he said one of his this was over the summer program because it just came out. This just came out in June. He said, "Hey, one of my high school students can't put this down." I gave her a copy of it because I don't know, because they're doing creative writing. And I used to write music a lot. So I'm like, maybe it is. I don't know. It does have some tricky rhyme patterns on there. So it's just a fun read. So I don't know. You're never too young or too old to read. So it's for anyone who enjoys it. But it's a good experience. I like to say the book is for dual experience. It's to read to someone else. I think it's the best way.
Illustrations are fantastic as well. This is kind of, I think that this is going to be the classroom classic. So you can get it on Amazon. Can they get it on your website?
No, I'll link it up there.
Link it up on your website. Well, we're going to put a link for the Amazon and where folks can get it, and also a link to you personally and your Gary Beaudette Consulting, right? Beaudette Consulting. Yep. We'll put a link in the description of the podcast so folks can reach out to you. And you teach these skills, lean processes, agile project management, you teach those at a higher education level as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned, if anybody's interested in learning more about Gary and what Beaudette Consulting does, reach out, because I work with you pretty closely here at Volt Institute with curriculum that you have created for us that is specific to our program. So it's very versatile, and I have taken courses from you, and I have found those to be invaluable.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin.
All right, Gary. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. Thank you so much. Right. You guys stick around. We're coming up on the D block, and that's where I'm going to tell you everything that's going on. So we'll be right back. This is Ready for Work. Volt Institute in downtown Modesto is currently accepting applications for our next group of students for maintenance mechanics with hands-on training. Jobs in the industrial maintenance field are expected to increase by 15% in Stanislaus County by 2024. Careers in this field are high-paying, in demand, and have career growth potential. Volt Institute is a nonprofit training center ran in partnership with Stanislaus County Office of Education and Opportunity Stanislaus. If you're looking for a better career, Volt can help. Get more information or enroll now at voltinstitute.com. All right. Welcome back to the program. This is Ready for Work, the podcast for career and technical education professionals. This is the D block. The D block is the last segment of this program. There are 4 segments in this program, A, B, C, and D. Thus, we call this one the D block. This is where I'm going to give you, well, not all of it. It's impossible to give you all of the information because there's an awful lot going on in our region, in the 5 counties that we cover here on Ready for Work. So let's just start here with adult education training, and the theme for our program, our episode here, has been apprenticeships and apprenticeship models, with the story that we covered in the A block. So let's start here in San Joaquin County, where there is a solar boot camp coming up, and you can learn about solar power in this free 2-week boot camp as part of SCO's construction technology training program. That's Stanislaus County Office of Education. You're going to learn about systems and panels and wiring and installation and removal. And this training can help you discover a new career in the booming solar energy industry. Stanislaus County Office of Education is in partnership with Northern California Construction Training Incorporated, that's NCCT, and they offer a building trades pre-apprenticeship program that helps prepare individuals for entry into various construction trades apprenticeship programs. I work pretty closely with those guys here in Stanislaus County. They provide the tools as well as remedial education in that program and resources to receive your high school diploma if you don't have one. The primary goal is placement in a construction apprentice training program of your choice. So electricians, carpenters union, masons, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really great program. The Construction Technology Training Program offers a job preparation. Is a job preparation program offered to adults 18 and over. Also in Stanislaus County, I'll put this up on the website. Here is the flyer for that, and that'll be up on the website, readyforworkpodcast.com. There is another partnership I want to tell you about. This is Workforce Ready Academy. This is a partnership between the Volt Institute here in downtown Modesto and AgSafe, which is well known. That's an organization that's well known for supporting the agricultural industry. And there are 3 boot camps in the Workforce Ready Academy, tractor operation training, and that's starting in October 26th through the 28th. Produce safety rules certification, that's going on in November 8th and 9th. And then forklift operator training, which is an incredibly valuable training that you can get. Forklift operators here in Stanislaus County make anywhere from $13 an hour to $22 an hour and more. A very valuable training you can get. So just go to readyforworkpodcast.com on the D block page, and you're going to find information about those folks. Don't forget our program sponsor, Bay Valley Tech Code Academy. We're super stoked to have them as a sponsor of this program. And Bay Valley Tech offers free and low-cost coding programs for students focused on web-based development languages ranging from HTML, HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, et cetera, et cetera. Definitely check them out. Their Modesto-based school strives to help students acquire adequate knowledge and skills to enter the tech industry hassle-free and land a rewarding career in the industry, in an ever-growing industry and with ever-growing demand as well. So let's talk just a second about what if you don't have a high school diploma. Well, we got you covered there because in Stanislaus County, there is the Comeback Kids program, and that is a program that offers high school program. I'll start over. Comeback Kids offers high school programs for adults ages 18 and above who want to come back and complete their education. So if you want to attend college or a technical school or enter the workforce, but if you have found that the lack of a high school diploma has stopped you, come back and continue earning your high school diploma. They offer rigorous high school academic programs that is flexible, customized, focused on areas of need for you individually to help you successfully earn your high school diploma. They follow a community college model, and students are enrolled in courses according to identified individual areas of need. Choice courses are available online, and all courses offer support classes with small groups or one-on-one with the teacher. Now, if you're in if you're in San Joaquin County, which is a very large county, covers a large area, they also have a Comeback Kids program, and it's absolutely free. Mostly online educational program that's offered through the Stanislaus County Office of Education's operated schools and programs division, and can help anyone 18 years or older earn their high school diploma. CBK there in San Joaquin County is an independent study program, and it allows individuals the opportunity to complete the necessary coursework to obtain your high school diploma through flexible and individualized schedule. This program will help adults who wanted to advance their career or education, but have found that not having a high school diploma has held them back. And let me tell you, it will. Let me tell you from experience, it will. So if you don't have your high school diploma, connect with the Stanislaus County Office of Education or the San Joaquin County Office of Education and go on back. Now, out in San Joaquin County, they have locations in Lodi, Stockton, Lathrop, and Tracy. And in Stanislaus County, they're all throughout the county as well. Turlock, Ceres, I believe, Modesto, and some other places too. So we're continuing on in San Joaquin County because I want to tell you about a program for young people. This is San Joaquin Building Futures Academy, and this is kind of a cool program. So the San Joaquin Building Futures Academy is a public school for students in San Joaquin County who participate in the San Joaquin County Office of Education Youth Build program. The San Joaquin Building Futures Academy is a high school dropout credit recovery program that offers grades 9 through 12, so freshmen to seniors, and services adults ages 18 to 24. All right. So if you dropped out of high school and you're between the ages of 18 to 24, you can come on back through the San Joaquin Building Futures Academy. And you're going to get academic and construction curriculum as integrated and provides multiple opportunities for hands-on experiences. The San Joaquin Building Futures Academy utilizes non-traditional approach to education and focuses on 5 key elements. And here they are: completing your high school diploma, certification in a construction-related industry, leadership development and community service, ongoing case management, and post-program placement and post-secondary education, employment, military, and or apprenticeship. So they're big on apprenticeships over there in San Joaquin County. They have a whole host of apprenticeships. As a matter of fact, they are over in San Joaquin County, they are the local education agency, or LEA, for approximately 35 apprenticeship programs across California. And their program managers and consultants over there oversee, review, and approve related and supplemental instruction for apprenticeship programs. And they work with agencies in the area and local apprenticeship coordinator association, management, and employee associations on their LEAs, in support of California employers to develop a skilled workforce, creating viable career pathways that increase productivity and strengthen our economy. And that's a mouthful, but it's an awfully good program over there. So again, all of these are going to be on our website at readyforworkpodcast.com. But let's go up the hill to Calaveras County, and we'll visit Columbia College, because they have some apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeship programs that I need to tell you about as well. And Columbia College Apprenticeship Initiative is a grant-funded program that supports the development and implementation of new and innovative apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeship models. And these programs support the local workforce and provide educational opportunities for current and future Columbia College students. One of the most popular and coolest programs up there in Columbia College is the Fire Science Pre-Apprenticeship program. So if you're interested in a career in firefighting, and Lord knows we need it here in California, right? The Fire Science Pre-Apprenticeship is designed to, Fire Science Pre-Apprenticeship is designed to provide an introduction to careers in fire science through hands-on experience, workshops, field trips, and more. After completing the pre-apprenticeship and Columbia College Fire Academy, either simultaneously or consecutively, participants will have the opportunity to apply to CalJAC, and that's the state's only registered apprenticeship in firefighting. The Fire Science Pre-Apprenticeship program is open to everyone, get this, everyone ages 14 and up. So definitely check that out. And again, that's on our website on the D Block page at readyforworkpodcast.com. So some other programs that they have up there in Calaveras County, apprenticeship programs they have up there. Child development. And that's a 2-year program that results in an associate teacher permit and a certificate of completion as registered apprentice through the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. Apprentices work as aides, assistants, and associate teachers in infant, toddler, and preschool classrooms or elementary school after school programs. And they are strongly encouraged to pursue additional coursework towards an associate of science degree in early childhood education. They also have a very popular forestry and natural resources program up there in Calaveras County at Columbia College. That's a 2-year program that results in a certificate of achievement in the management and restoration of fire-adapted ecosystems, as well as a certificate of completion as a registered apprentice through the Division of Apprenticeship Standards. Apprentices work as forest conservation technicians and are given the opportunity to take additional casework towards certificates of achievement and or Associate of Science degrees. Now, they also have a very cool program because, up there in Calaveras County, that's kind of foothill wine country. They got a lot of hotels. There's a lot of sights to see. They also have a hospitality management apprenticeship program up there. I'm sad to tell you, sad and happy at the same time, to tell you that currently that program is full, but they are still accepting applications. So if you're interested in getting into the hospitality industry, this is a great way to do that with hands-on learning. And again, that's going to be on our website at readyforworkpodcast.com on the D block. And let's continue up the hill into Tuolumne County. And they have partnered with the Greater Valley Conservation Corps, and they help youth 18 to 25 years old with academic instruction, employment opportunities, and green job training, life skills, and much more. They are currently working with 18 to 25-year-olds in the fields of recycling and natural resources. So connect with Tuolumne County Superintendent of Schools up there. And again, that will be on our website, readyforworkpodcast.com. And let's head down south to Merced County. And they're doing some great work down there. We're going to have them on the program to talk about some work that they are doing in CTE with their high schools, which is an incredibly innovative program. And you're going to be excited to learn how they did that as well, how they've done some things that they're doing down there. But let's talk about their regional occupation programs. That's ROP for adults. And their goals are to develop technical and interpersonal skills, secure employment, upgrade skills, and pursue college-related courses. And out in Merced, they have accounting available. They have computerized office technology. They have construction technology, culinary essentials, foundations in early education. They have medical assisting and medical office administration as well. Now, if we go to Atwater, down in Merced County, they have automotive technology, logistics and warehousing. And if we go all the way down to Los Banos, they have computerized office technology and medical office administration available. So again, all of these are on our website, listed as links on the D block page for at readyforworkpodcast.com. And we're adding more all the time. Again, I wish I had more time in all of this episode. I figured I'd take up about half of your lunch hour here with all of this information. But you can always go back to our website, readyforworkpodcast.com. So in closing, I hope you enjoyed this program, and I hope that you will join us again next time. But that's all that we have time for today. So don't forget to subscribe, like, love, and more importantly, share this content with other folks that you know who may need it, and turn them on to this podcast, the Ready for Work podcast. A big thank you to our premier podcast sponsor, Bay Valley Tech Code Academy. I'm pretty sure on our next episode, we're going to have Phil Land from Bay Valley Tech come in and talk to us a little bit about future casting. I'm excited about that. Phil is a cool guy, and he's got a big vision for the future. So subscribe. You're not going to want to miss that. So subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen or watch. Apple, Google, Spotify, Spreaker. If you're listening, if you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. I'd also like to thank our partners in the region: Stanislaus County, Tuolumne County, Merced County, San Joaquin County, and Merced County. My name is Kevin Fox. This is Ready for Work. Until next time, get to work.